For those who don't know who I am, I'm Len Fosher. I am serving as your president-elect, but today I'll be serving president. This kid is out. All right, today, can we have Eric Rowe to lead us in our salute to our nation's flag?
You bet. Fellow Rotarians and guests, please join me in the pledge to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And Graham Sackerson, will you lead us in the four-way test?
Fellow Rotarians, please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
and for us, fifth.
Is it fun?
And I just muted my phone, which I'm sure everybody else has already done. You guys are better than I am. Okay, we've got some visiting Rotarians today. Starting off with former District Governor Ken Balsley from the Lacey Club. Ken Balsley. We have Jill Himley, thank you, from the Skookum Club.
Yay!
And also from the Lacey Club, we have our very own AG, Bill McGregor. Bill. And we have a plethora, you can look that up later on, a plethora of guests today. Plethora is how you say it?
Not if you're from Boston.
No, I say plethora.
Yeah, that was my pet snake.
Okay, here we go. Troy Kirby, would you please introduce your guest?
Nico Hammer from Oli Orthopedic, and he's going to be joining us as a member.
All right, Nico. A whole bunch of crossing out. It looked like Lori wrote something and crossed it up, and that's okay. Nancy, you have a guest today. Could you please introduce your guest? All right, we've got.
Who's the number one?
Get a membership in Rotary down in Portland, Gresham area. Everybody knows what's good stuff in that area? Please let us know.
What area?
Portland.
What, in the Portland? Gresham, Portland. So, for some reason, you might know somebody? Oh, look at that. Surprising. Tom Carroll knows somebody in the area. But let's hear it. Let's hear it for Nancy's sister. Yes, thank you. All right, Chris Brown, you have a guest today.
For the second time, I brought my guest, Mike Walter from the Coming Doctor News. He's hopefully considering doing
Yeah. Fantastic. Any other guests? I see Bill's hand up first. Bill, go ahead.
Lori had three guests today. First of all, Randy Johnson is the chief of Spokane County Fire District 4. He's over here helping me interview Deputy State Fire Marshal today. And I invited the program today, so Travis Matheson, who I work with State Patrol, and Alfie Alvarez, who's the Director of Veterans Affairs.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. Under Sheriff, go ahead, sir.
So we have Mark Ayers, and it'll be his final introduction as a guest, and the today as a member of Gateway Rotary of Thurston County.
Yeah.
Final. I like how you said that. Final. I might get fine with final. Okay. That's the worst joke I could pull up today of my Jerry Farmer impression. All right, we've got a couple people who are going to be making some announcements. First, Grace Kendall, are you here? Grace, here we go. Let's hear for Grace.
Hey, thanks everyone. Couple things here. Today, immediately following our meeting, the vocational committee is going to be meeting. And any of you who do not know what we do, please stop by and just give us an opportunity to let you know what we do and things that we're going to do within the club. So if you'll do that, that would be great. Second thing, how many of you guys like to have fun? Yeah. Okay, so I need you guys to sign up for classification talks. I'm going to pass this around again, and let me ask you a question. All of you that like to have fun, and for those of you who have sponsored members, ask them to come out and play with us. We're a fun club, right? So let's get them involved and have them to come out and so that we can learn a little bit about them. And for those of you who've already given your classification talks, there's other things that you can do. If you got up and you gave us your personal history, get up and give us your classification of what you do and what you like to do. Expand on it. If you think that, hey, I've already given one, I don't really need to do this again, just think of this. There's a lot of new members out here that don't know you. So let's try to get them involved as well, okay? And how many business owners do we have in the group today? Raise your hands. Would you, Ed, would you look around at all the hands? Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. We're going to be coming around and talking to you, okay? Thanks a lot.
It's open
Let's hear it for Grace. Ed's got a new side job with the IRS, that's why we just wanted to check that out. Okay, can we have it is my honor to recognize our AG, Bill McGregor, who's going to be making a couple presentations. Bill.
Hey, Billy.
Hey, Bill.
He looks just like the port guy. He does. Amazing.
Come on here, Lynn. I gotta tell you though, those visitors here today, if you're considering joining this club, you're making a good decision.
Wow.
So, that's number one. Number two, if you're looking at Lacey Rotary, you'd be making a great decision.
All right, well, that was Bill McGregor. Thank you, folks.
No, I have two certificates here that District Governor Gillis gave me before he left town last week. Wanted me to give these, and these are awarded to the Gateway Thurston County Club for making a difference in the lives of people. This is the 2017-2018 Rotary citation from the President of Rotary, so I'd like to present that as well to your club. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And then when I opened it, I found there was another one for Gateway Thurston County, and this is for the financial support of End Polio Now. So thanks for all you do in providing funds for that. We're getting closer and closer every year. So thank you very much for your...
That way.
That was natural. He looks really practiced. He does. That's really good. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it for our AG. He does a lot of work for our And Nate Peters, you have some announcements? Nate? Let's hear it for Nate.
Yay, Nate!
Yes, I have some.
Hard to believe he's 50.
I know, incredible. That really shows that they
Let me.
Yeah, when? All right.
We talked about doing a Rotary apparel fundraiser, so this is kind of what the board has voted on and came to present to the membership. So, on the right here,
Sun's out, guns out.
the women's, yes. So John Grantham is a member of our club, owner of Bud Bay Apparel.
Right, John.
And got me off track. All right. So he is giving us a discount on the actual apparel items, so that we can then take part of the cost of the apparel, put toward the Rotary Foundation in your name. And so on the left here, we have the women's option, ready for layering. The super soft mid-weight fleece vest offers great warmth at a great price. 13.8 ounce, 100% polyester, twill tape neck, reverse coil zipper. It's a nice vest. For the men, these durable, color fast quarter zips feature a better fit with minimal shrinkage, as well as a 2x2 with knit cuffs and waistband. So, all this awesome stuff. We picked gray because this is something a lot of people can wear to their workplaces. It has the Gateway Rotary logo on the left there. So the men's is $55. 25 of that goes to the Rotary Foundation in your name. For the women's, it's $50. And again, 25 of that goes to the Rotary Foundation in your name. That way, as we start to do more of this fundraiser, people will start wearing our logos and stuff. We're also getting every Rotarian every year goal with the Rotary Foundation. Thank you.
When can we order them?
Oh, yeah. I have all these notes. I get all flustered. All right. So, we will be taking cash or check. If you have a check, please write it out to Gateway Rotary. I will be collecting those. An email will be going out this week with the same information, but again, we need to be doing cash or check, so there's no way to purchase online. So I will be here in the mornings and after each meeting moving forward to be taking people's stuff when you get here, if you guys are wanting to do this. And I'll probably hound you, so I'll be checking the reports every week.
And when do they arrive?
We haven't set a deadline yet for the fundraiser, so we're looking at a couple of months that we'll be able to be getting orders. Tom.
Are you going to have any samples for sizes so people can try them on? You should ask John.
I'll ask John.
Yeah, they don't have to be logoed up and everything.
Let me check with John. So we decided to do one option, one color to make it easier. John can do other custom Rotary apparel. He's what do you call it? Certified to do Rotary stuff. John.
That was my question, if they have a men's vest.
They do have a men's vest, but our fundraiser is going to be the next year. Next year.
Mike.
How does Len pronounce vest? Vest.
Thank you guys.
For those of us who are not old school, what's a check?
Next.
Oh.
Okay.
Graham wants cash.
All right, let's hear from Nate. We're going to hear from Nate here in a couple minutes because he's doing our classification talk. I do have a couple other announcements I just wanted to get down real quick. On February 7th, we will, from 4 to 6:30 at Puget Sound Taps, we will be having our next social. That's a fun time to get together. It's an evening with Crystal is what we're calling it, and it should be a fun event. So I hope everybody can join us. And again, thank you to Crystal Zavala for her help in setting this up. Also to Troy Kirby for putting it out there and making sure we pass that along. March social. If those of you who follow 28 days in February, if you have February 7th. That first Thursday will probably be March 7th, and it is, ironically. Wow. So at Top Rum, we're going to be doing cake and beer in celebration of Dr. Seuss's birthday. So make sure you make both February 7th, 4 to 6:30, and March 7th, 4 to 6:30 available in your schedules for our socials. The Paul Harris Awards Dinner, I've been talking about this for a while, is scheduled for March 28th, starting at 5:30 at the Hotel RL, and sign-ups are available on the, yes, Madeline?
Don't forget, I have to tell you.
And I'm not forgetting Madeline. I just got a signal. I'm getting distracted like Nate was. Now I see how it goes, Nate. My apologies for my distraction. So again, sign up for the Paul Harris Awards Dinner. That's online on the district site. And I sent out a link. I will send that link back out to the club so you guys know. Also, for your schedules, District 5020 Conference and Training will be at Victoria, BC on May 9 through 11. And we just got some new information on that from Governor Craig Gillis, so we'll be putting that out to the club in an email here soon as well. So those are the announcements. Hope you can make it to those events and those socials. And I know you just vigilantly, I can't say that word either, just so you know, Mike, so thank you, add that to your calendar, so thank you very much. With that, I'd like to announce Madeline. Madeline, would you like to come up?
Hey, Madeline!
Madeline! Hey, Madeline!
Good morning.
Good morning, Alan.
It is my pleasure to ask Mark Harris and Tim Brannon, my neighbor Tim, to come forward, please.
All right, Mark.
All right.
Tim's making his way here. He
Yeah,
has
he has to go through all of this.
That's
He
right.
had to frisk somebody.
Good morning. Kind of hard to fit through with that vest.
I feel so protected, you know? All right, so how many know about Mark Harris? You soon will. No, and by the way, that sounds like Harris. Harris.
Yeah, there you go.
Harris. Harris. Okay. Oh, it's Eris. But I've been saying Eric. What if I did? Anyway, it's Eris, everybody. He is a Navy brat from the start. Mark was born at a naval air station in the Philippines. He was raised in South Texas and still has an occasional drawl. He served 3 years as a soldier in the U.S. Army at Fort Lewis. In his spare time, he rode bulls while in high school. Jerry's just full of bulls. Sorry. And later at rodeos around the Northwest, including the Olympia Rodeo at the Trails End Arena in 1980-something. He served in the Washington State Patrol for nearly 27 years at various assignments all over the state and retired as a lieutenant. After retirement, Mark served 5 years as the Director of Security / Sergeant at Arms for the Washington State House of Representatives. He now works as an independent physical security consultant and enjoys improving his photography and genealogy skills. Mark is the proud father of 2 daughters and 3 sons, 2 WSU Cougars, 1 CW Wildcat, 1 studying in Minnesota, and 1 currently applying to the UW. Is that one really in Minnesota right now, freezing to death? Oh my goodness. He enjoyed coaching youth basketball and soccer for his kids and served as an assistant scoutmaster in the Boy Scouts of America. Mark and his wife Jamie will be celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary this year and look forward to many more. And what is your favorite book?
I'd have to say Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. I think it's the most effective in my attitude.
Oh, is that good?
Very good.
Oh, okay, all right.
Highly recommend it.
Here you go. Yeah.
My last one.
You have to soul and tell.
Yeah. Fellow Rotarians, please help me welcome Mark Harris.
That is truly one of my favorite aspects of Rotary is when we get to recognize a new member. And I'm sure we'll be seeing a fine going out later on today, right? Mr. Mack, where are you, sir? Yes, sir. All right. Before I introduce Nate again, who's going to be doing his classification talk, I did want to just let the club know and recognize Florence Jonan for her work as club administrator. She's going to be stepping down from the position today. But we really appreciate all the work that she's done in fulfilling that role, and let's hear it for Florence. And Amanda Bay will be stepping into that role, so you'll see her a lot more in the mornings on that. With that said, I'd like to introduce Nate Peters for his classification talk. Let's hear it for Nate. Yay, Nate!
I sat down last night and wanted to figure out like how to be funny or do something interactive, but then I realized of all the people in this county that I want to talk about my professional accomplishments to is this group. There's so many people in this group that I look up to as mentors for myself. I wanted to share with you guys. This is my family, so my dad on the left, my mom in the middle, and my older brother Will. Well, younger brother Will. He's 18, doing South Puget Sound Community College. He's also 6'1". He has like normal brown colored hair. His Native American shows, so it's a little bit darker, tans better, and the same green eyes. So, you know.
Too much information.
But it's okay. He's a good brother. I grew up right in Thurston County. I graduated from Tumwater High School in 2012. After that, I went to South Puget Sound Community College. I earned 2 associate degrees in 2 years there. That's also where I met my current vice president, Cecilia Lovelace, as an intern, and that internship experience helped me get to be where I am today. I then transferred to Eastern Washington University, where I studied visual communication design with a minor in journalism. This degree is focused on graphic design, web design, visual theory, and how to communicate. Graphic designers don't just make things pretty, we solve problems. I'm now currently in the Master's of Business Administration program at St. Martin's University. I will be graduated in July. I'm so excited. I started out my career after graduating from Eastern in 2016. My first big boy job was working for the fraternity. So I traveled 10 different states along the eastern half of the country, working with different institutions. Institutions ranging from New York University, University of Connecticut, Wake Forest University, North Carolina, really all over the country. I got paid to travel, working with students, talking about leadership and how to create educational environments not focused on hazing or alcohol abuse, and really helping men figure out who they are at such a pivotal time in their life. So that was an amazing experience. I learned a ton from, and this is a group that I traveled with. These are still some of my closest friends. I visit them often. We're all spread out across the country, and so it's always fun to go catch up and visit with them. This is at the University of Richmond. We did the executive education course, and so we learned about persuasive communication and how to communicate in teams. And now that leaves me, when my contract was up after a year, I went to St. Martin's University. I now serve as the annual giving manager for the institution. This really boils down to is fundraising. People say, hey, you're 24 years old and you ask people for money. And I say, that is not what I do. If that is what you think my job is, then you miss the mark. My job really is connecting people with one of their most life-changing experiences. People look back at their time at their alma mater as something that really shaped who they are today, and people give as a way to connect to that and feel like they participate. And so that's something I do. I'm a connector, connecting people to their affinity back to the institution that gave them so much. Absolutely love my job. Work with amazing people. Like I said, my vice president, Cecilia Lovelace, Katie Woke, I think many people in the room know her as well, and Dana Pethia. These types of people have really, these women have been mentors for me in my, starting out my career. This is my team here. We went and painted, what do you call them, snowmen downtown. Mine's the bottom left. I'm really proud of it because I'm terrible with like hand painting things. Very proud. And then something I started last January, not everyone may know, I started my own company. So it's Nathan Peters Graphics, LLC. What I do is I do marketing and design with businesses in the community. I have been so busy I haven't even like made my own logo. I bought my URL, but I haven't made my own website, so I'm a great graphic designer, right? Yeah. So my first job was working with the Strophe Foundation with some people, and so I created the logo, the website, all that fun stuff. Next was kind of cool. Rebecca Glasgow just got elected to the Court of Appeals, and I did her creative materials for her political campaign. Next, I do article writing for Showcase Magazine, based up in Tacoma. And then I work with panelist jewelers every month doing marketing. So I don't just do design for market or for panelists, but I provide marketing strategy and really looking at how to saturate the market in ways that we haven't in the past. The retail industry is always changing. The next I did the Southside YMCA, so all of their fundraisers this past year, the Western theme one, I did all the materials for that. And then I'm currently doing the West Olympia Rotary's, their dual piano fundraising event. The flyers that the guy handed out a couple weeks ago, I did that design. So absolutely love doing this. I work with awesome clients who understand that I have a lot on my plate every day. And so this is a great way to learn and get better connected in the community. These people have taught me so much from these jobs as clients that I would never have learned if I hadn't taken this jump in doing my own business. The next is some community involvement. Everyone in this room, I would say, is extremely involved in the community. And I want to show this to say I also am a part of this group and I'm trying to give back. I serve as one of the youngest alumni board directors at Eastern Washington University. I go back every quarter and talk about how to better engage the younger students as they graduate, talk about fundraising strategy and alumni engagement. I serve on the board for our very own Trudy Sukup's organization, Homes First. I just stepped up as the resource development chair where I help provide a vision for their fundraising and marketing. Next is our Rotary Club. I serve as their foundation chair, which is something I love to do, is talk about, again, giving and how to participate in that. Next is SIG UP, the fraternity. I'm the chapter advisor for the fraternity at the University of Washington. I also do panels and stuff at UW to talk about the experience of Greek life and how it is not what Hollywood portrays it to be. I also do other facilitation practices for Washington State University and some other ones because of my affiliation there. They're flying me out to Chicago next week to do a presentation on rising leaders. So I'm really excited to be able to talk to freshman and sophomore men about what leadership looks like in the fraternity. The next is I'm also leadership coach in County, which is really cool. I know there's a lot of graduates in here that can speak to the experience of what this program does, and I'm excited to be one of them moving forward. This is from a brick at Wake Forest University. Like many of the southern universities, especially the potted ivies, they're all brick. So think of thousands of brick. I'm running. I have my stupid leather briefcase that's like booming. I have an easel. I'm carrying a what do you call it? The giant sticky notepads. A stupid box of markers. I'm like running across to the parking lot. And at a university campus, you want to look cool, right? All the kids are around. You want to be cool. I'm like a full suit. Like I'm like trying to get through this parking lot with all my stuff. And I stumble on this brick out of the thousands at the university. And it really made an impact on me was that this brick said, make an impact that lasts. And this is something that I try to do every day as I do my job, as I talk with different people, is thinking about how to leave a legacy and make an impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. That was awesome. You hear the part about you tripping on the brick? Okay, so, yay! Okay, I get two. I know. Good morning, everyone. I love having a packed house. This is wonderful. So it is my honor to be able to introduce our guest speakers this morning. We have two, and they're with Puget Sound Honor Flight. It is a non-profit organization which began in 2013. And its mission is to transport Western Washington war veterans to Washington, D.C. At no expense to them, to visit and reflect at the memorials dedicated to their service and sacrifice. Puget Sound Honor Flight is a regional hub of a national organization called Honor Flight Network. And they serve all of Western Washington veteran population and do their best to serve any vet who can get to the Seattle and travel with them. So please join me in welcoming Travis Matheson and Alfie Alvarez.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Alfie is here joining me. She's our Director of Veterans Affairs here in Washington State and one of our primary advocates at Puget Sound Honor Flight. So we're very happy to have her.
Yeah, do you want to hold handle it or do you want to have her? Just talk straight. All right, thanks.
Thank you. So yes, I'm here to talk to you about a really wonderful thing that's happening in our community, and it's called Puget Sound Honor Flight. As mentioned, we've been running up since 2013 out of the Puget Sound region, and we have transported over 1,200 Washington State veterans to Washington, D.C. to see their war memorials. The National Honor Flight Network started in approximately 2005, 2006 in the Midwest, and initially was transporting veterans to Washington, D.C. to see their memorials because they hadn't had an opportunity to do that. And it was shortly after the World War II memorial was built, and they had found that a lot of World War II veterans had not seen the World War II memorial. So they were going back there to see their memorial and their an opportunity to do that. But they didn't have funds to do it, so they started fundraising and taking flights to DC to do that. When I was in DC in 2007 for a year, I learned about Honor Flight through Senator Bob Dole, who's also a World War II veteran, and he told us about the program, so I had an opportunity to volunteer on the grounds there and learn about it. And telling you a little bit about what we do in the Puget Sound region, we take approximately 50 to 55 veterans 4 times a year to Washington, D.C. We leave on a Saturday morning, and we fly to Baltimore, and then on Sunday morning we get up early, and we take a trip to the World War II Memorial, where we go and we let the veterans see their memorial. Excuse me. Alfie, would you mind joining me? So Alfie was on our trip in 2018, our October trip, I believe, right? Yes. And she's would like to tell you a small testimonial about her trip.
I think we have the tallest and the shortest person in the room standing in front of me. So this is about an experience. You know, it's not just about looking at the memorials. It's about being able to put people together, especially World War II veterans who have priority. Then you have the Vietnam veterans, and then Korean veterans, and then others. But the most important thing is being able to get together these veterans who have not had a lot of contact with others. Many of them are in their 90s and 80s. It's likely the population to have the most issues with depression, end-of-life issues, and this is life-changing for many of them. And frankly, some of them are just at that edge where after they have been through all of this memorial, have had the experience, they're able to go in peace. And that is something that is profound. Going to this trip in October, I've been meaning to do that for a long time, and finally it happened. I had one veteran, I'm the guardian, and this is the veteran, and a 92-year-old Rick, World War II, from Texas, came all the way to Washington State, and for him, this was something that he had tears in his eyes just about every single day, for every single memorial we went to. It's a grueling 2 days, 2.5 days. But the adrenaline that drives these veterans to be able to really just forget about the fact that they're maybe disabled, they're older and all, is something that is unforgettable. And it's something that I encourage you, especially those of you who are veterans. Do we have any veterans in the building? Come on, make some noise. That is incredible to be able to support. If you have family members, and I'm sure many of you have World War II, Korean War loved ones, parents, especially women who serve, who usually do not partake in these flights, we encourage you to contact Travis and ensure that they get this incredible life-changing opportunity and be able to just be among their peers and have fun, and in the process be able to see things that they have not seen probably in a long time or never have seen. So I just want to thank you, Travis, for everything that you do.
Thank you all. I apologize for earlier. Part of what resonated for me, or what drove me to participate with Puget Sound Honor Flight, was my grandfather was a World War II veteran. And when I was in Washington, D.C., and we learned about Honor Flight, of course, the first person I thought of was him. And my grandmother had spent most of her life in a wheelchair with polio, about 60 years, and they'd been married for 65 years. And so he was always there to help take care of her. She was a very independent woman, but he helped take care of her. So when I came back from D.C. in 2008 and asked him and my grandma if I could take him on an honor flight, he was like, I can't leave as long as your grandmother's around. So a couple years ago, my grandmother passed away, and I finally convinced my grandfather to go on the trip with Puget Sound Honor Flight. Unfortunately, just a few months before his scheduled trip, he passed away as well. So when I'm there in D.C. With the veterans or the Guardian or in support of them, it's a really moving experience, and so sometimes I get a little choked up by that. So he did not have an opportunity to make that trip. And so one of my goals is to get veterans there who have not had that opportunity, because it's a really special thing. I often think of it as like when you take your kids to Disneyland. If you've been to Disneyland as a kid, that's really fun. But as a parent, seeing Disneyland through your kids' eyes is even more rewarding and a wonderful experience. And so when I take the veterans to Washington, D.C. and watch them experience the World War II Memorial, the Korean War Memorial, and the Vietnam Memorial, and seeing it through their eyes, it's a very rewarding experience. We also visit the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and watch the changing of the guard there. They love that. And as Alfie said, you know, it's a grueling 2.5 days for them, flying across country. We have a couple of banquets for them, 2 full days of bus rides and trips, and then another cross-country trip back. But they love it. They have a great rapport with one another. They don't know each other before the trip starts. These guys, they fall right back into the military days, and they get to know one another. So I don't have any more prepared remarks, but if anybody has questions, I'd love to talk more about it. Yes, sir.
My father-in-law is 93.
Yes.
World War II vet. You know, he's 93. He didn't get around very easily. I mean, the people help him. I mean, how does he do it? He's not in a wheelchair, but he can't walk very far.
That's a great question. So my first trip, I had two 93 and a 94-year-old on either side of me on the plane, from Olympia actually. And so we have a guardian assigned to each veteran and a wheelchair for each veteran. Now, as our veterans get younger, because we're running out of our World War II veterans, we use fewer of those wheelchairs. But we've taken veterans who are as old as 100 years old on our trip. So we'd love to have your father-in-law join us.
Are you always looking for volunteers to be guardians, or?
Yeah, we have a really good cohort of guardians, a reliable group, but yes, we would love to have more people be guardians. A lot of veterans bring a daughter or a grandson, a family member as a guardian, but we have a fair number that don't. And so yes, we're always looking for more guardians.
Well, Ken fought in the Civil War. I'm wondering, would you consider going that far back? Or?
Absolutely. We go to Gettysburg for that.
The Civil War memorials are all gone now.
Right.
So do you take regular commercial flights, or do you charter a plane, or what do you do?
Yeah, that's another great question. Alaska Airlines is an amazing partner for us. We don't charter a flight, but we buy commercial tickets on Alaska Airlines, but they pull out all the stops. From the point actually long before we even get to the airport, with ticketing and reservations, and then at the airport they set aside 4 ticket agents just for us. We have an amazing reception there at the airport, and then everything on the plane is comped for the veterans. So everything from the meals to the little digi players to the alcohol, and they take really good care of the veterans.
So with all those artificial hips, is it a problem going through the medical?
Another great partner is the TSA on both ends of the trip. So they'll set aside separate security lines for us, and they'll escort us down, and they take proper care of us. Bill.
Hey, Travis, talk about the homecoming and what that's about, and what folks that get an introduction to what we do might be on homecoming.
Yeah, so there's a couple of there's lots of surprises for the veterans on the trip. One of them is what we call mail call on the return trip on the flight. And we spend, we enlist prior to the trip a family member or friend secretly to collect letters and cards on behalf of the veteran. And we have a lot of letters and cards written by school children from across the region. And then on the trip back, we take over the PA system on the flight, and we do a mail call for each veteran. And we have a large package of mail for them, call out their name and their rank. And we run up and down the aisles and pass out these letters from their family and friends and school children thanking them for their service. There's very few dry eyes in the airplane. When we do get back to Washington, or when we get back to Seattle, they think the trip is over, and it is in a way, but we also have a reception for them that they're not aware of. So we've also had a lot of their family and friends arrive, and we have up to about 85 to 100 current uniformed service personnel form a line, a reception line for them as they come off, as they deplane, and then escort them down the terminal and into the atrium at SeaTac, where we have another large reception for them. It's a really neat capstone event for the trip.
Can you how do you fund this? One, how do you fund it? And do you take donations like Alaska Miles as donations? Bill?
That's a good question on Alaska Miles. I'll check into that and let you know. We have it's all privately funded. So we have some. I should say we also have some corporate sponsors, Alaska Airlines and Talking Rain. But just a lot of fundraising and private funds.
If you need a good fundraiser, Nate, I don't know if you have
It's about making connections.
Travis.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as the cost for the guardian, because it's not free for the guardian.
Yes, that's right. So the guardian fee is $1,000 per trip. That covers the airfare, the meals, the hotel, and the transportation in Washington, D.C.
100% tax deductible.
100% tax deductible.
Okay, any other questions?
Don't go anywhere. Let's hear it for Travis. And a couple things. You have been
guys have a book? Is that?
It's going around.
Yeah, three.
So that book, so our veterans are extremely grateful for this.
And so they give us things, and they want to give back to the organization. And one of the veterans I was a guardian for, that's why my picture's in the book. In September of last year, he was an amateur photographer, so he took a lot of pictures while we were there. He's a Korean War veteran, and so he put together that book for us. And so we're just passing around a couple copies.
Can we purchase a book?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up, and I just want to hear the club's thoughts, and first of all, give Jonathan a little credit, who's letting me know about that. We do a literacy program, and we're about to talk about that here right now. But what we could do is, if the club wants, purchase the book and have somebody else sign it, and it could be part of our literacy project. Is that something that we want?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? Yeah? All right. All right, with that said, again, what we do as part of our literacy program is we ask our guest speakers to sign a book, and we present that book and donate that book to Pleasant Glades Elementary School. So this is a very serious topic, one that's close to my heart, and I know many of yours. So I wanted to lighten the mood, and this one just made me chuckle a little. A Bean's Life Cycle. Just seemed like a great book. So please just jump in on a picture on that. It's a dad.
Oh. At this age, that's the book for money.
Yeah. All right, let's hear it one more time. Without further, first let me also say thank you to our online folks that have been listening, and sign off and say see you later. Bye. Thank you again for that, Troy. Am I clear? Yeah.